tropical gardening is one of those things that have just never gone out of fashion. And there's something about it, the feel of those beautiful leaves, the largeness, the bright and bold colors. Of course, we all want a part of that in our gardens. How do we get it? How do we achieve it? And what plants can we use? We're going to go through all of those things in the next few minutes. One of the few plants that really are the epitome of any tropical garden are these beauties. They are called crotons or codiums. Codium variegata, you get various varieties. And interestingly enough, you'll find most of these plants actually available as an indoor pot plant because they love growing in a bit of semi-shade and they actually do incredibly well indoors. But of course, outdoors, let them grow and they get literally up to 1.5, 2 meters in height. But look at these colors. I mean, this is the epitome of the tropics. Bright, bold, flamboyant, and during the autumn months, so March, April, May, and especially into winter, right on the coast, this is when these plants really come into their own. Their colors get deeper, they get darker. But of course, growing tropical plants is not only limited to the coast. If you're living in different parts of Pretoria, even if you're in an area that receives cold, if you have got a courtyard, you can still grow beautiful leafy tropical plants. These are amazing. Quick trick, don't overwater them. They love being stressed out. Generally, too much water makes all their leaves drop off. But give them space to grow because look at these amazing colors. The hallmarks of tropical gardens is the way that we combine plants. It's about combining big broad leaves like this beautiful agave. I mean, these guys are wicked. As cheap as chips, work beautifully, and a group of 3 like this. Look at that, 1, 2, 3, that boldness is just amazing. And of course, we've spoken repeatedly about grey in the garden and how grey brings out other colors. I mean, you can't miss these because they make everything else around it just pop out. So agaves, fantastic. You can plant them literally sideways in pots. They can lie down. They are very forgiving. And if you kill one of these, you really need to have a one-on-one session with me because these guys are very hard to kill. The art of combining tropical plants is about using broadleaf plants and then behind it, a change of texture, just like we've got with this huge, delicious monster behind me. And that's how we get the look, by combining big broad leaves like with this agave against the serrated leaf of the delicious monster behind me, and then the dinella, which is the strap-like leaves. It's about playing with texture, shape, and of course the color, like we just showed you in the Croton before. Electric colors that pop out of everywhere. That gives us that tropical feel. So folks, we've seen from the outdoors, having a large garden, where you can bring the tropical in. Those wonderful agaves, beautiful crotons. And what, well, if you don't have that, how are you going to get the tropical feel? How are you going to get that indoors? And especially for those folks who live where you get lots of frost. You know, the winter months, we want to perk them up, you know, and we want to make sure that we can still have that lushness, that gorgeous feeling, because somehow it just lifts the spirits. So we're going to show you today how to bring that feeling of tropical right onto your patio, whether it be in your courtyard or whether it be just indoors. We're going to show you the recipe to success. So first of all, what we're going to need is some potting soil. And of course, we're going to pimp our mixture. We've got to make it perfect so that these plants are going to be happy as Larry. Okay, first in is a few handfuls of bone meal. All right, we're going to put in a handful or 2 of organic pellets. And then, of course, our trusty palm peat. And we can then get mixing. Now, time for the plants, folks. You know, I often find the most treasured things in my garden are the things that other people might have thrown away. And I've had this piece of wood lying around in the garden, literally underneath a tree for I don't know how long, yonks. And today I found a reason. Today I found the perfect reason to use it. And this, my friends, is going to give us that wonderful look. So let's take this boy out. Beautiful piece of driftwood. I've got a lovely low bowl which will work really in any environment. And if you wanted to raise it, you could of course put it on a plinth or something. In the bottom of it, we're going to put in some drainage pebbles. And then, because this guy is really going to be our focal point, and I don't want it to be dangerous, in other words, could get knocked over, I really want this guy to sit in here. So hold him there, and then I'm just going to add in some of my soil. So that's going to give it just a little bit of stability before we start planting. All right, I'm just going to add a bit into the front here. Nice. And you know, we want to focus on the tropical plants, and what we mentioned earlier is that it's all about the leaf texture and beautiful changes in texture. I've got an anthurium here, one of the toughest indoor stroke patio plants that you could ever imagine. And all you've got to make sure that it doesn't get full sun, or else its leaves will burn. Keep it damp but not drenched, really important. So I want to pop this little baby in right over here. Okay, pop that little baby in. I'm delighted with that. I've got this lovely bromeliad. Oh, isn't it gorgeous? Now, don't get too worried about the names and all that. What you do need to know is that bromeliads are incredibly forgiving. And when this guy's finished flowering, and in fact, this plume here will stay on the plant for up to 4 months, keeping this color. And that's why I love it, because they're incredibly hardy and they just go on and on and on, giving us the color that we want. When this guy finishes flowering, it'll start sending up its baby, which we call a pup. And the little pup will start coming up here. When the pup gets about 15 centimeters, this plant will actually start dying back. When it starts dying back, you can then cut it off, and then you've got your new plant. So they regenerate themselves amazingly well. And there we go. Do you see? We're talking about textures. Look at that. Oh, nice. Okay, and of course, you can't have a tropical garden without 1 or 2 ferns and some gentleness in it. So I've got this microlepia fern. Once again, you get many different varieties. Folks, just choose something that you love. And remember, with ferns, it's all about keeping them damp. And to give a bit of change in texture, this beautiful baby is going to go right over here. Gorgeous. And then in this little hole over here, because we also play with height, I'm going to pop in a little peperomia. Finally, I'm mad about ferns. In fact, it's my latest collection. It's a bit of an obsession. And they're really simple to look after. A bit of feeding and keep their roots nice and moist. Oh man, I'm loving this. I feel like I've been transported to Thailand or somewhere in a mist belt. And last bit, let's just fill in all the gaps. And haha, there we have one beautiful tropical pot. I quite like it. And there you have it. Bring the tropical indoors.